Hello, my name's Mel Ashworth and welcome to Coffee with the Councillor. And I have the pleasure of welcoming Holly Young today. Hello, Holly.
Hello,
thank you for
Mel.
coming in.
Thank you.
Could I ask you which party you're with and which ward you represent?
Yeah, I'm with the Liberal Democrats, and it's Central Ward, so the town centre and surrounding areas.
Okay, and how long have you been a councillor?
Just since May.
Oh,
so not very long at all. Yeah.
How did you find the experience?
Of standing for election.
Yes.
It was good. It was really good because you're motivated to get out and knock on people's doors and get to speak to people and you know, find out what issues people really have. And that was really enjoyable.
Yeah, what motivated you, Holly, to stand as a councillor?
I think it was really getting interested in looking at the councillors that were in office at the time, North Somerset and Western Town, although I'm a Western Town councillor, looking at both of them and thinking, without any disrespect meant to them, you're all very much of a muchness, you know, kind of middle-aged white men. And I didn't really feel that was representative of Weston-super-Mare. I just wanted to get younger, female, more probably working class type people in there, really. And
talking of younger, Holly, you look, not being rude, but you look about 14.
Do I?
I'm feeling very old. How old are you?
I'm 26.
26.
Yeah, so a bit older.
So you must be the youngest one there.
I think I am the youngest one, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
can be a bit intimidating, but also quite empowering, yeah.
Absolutely. You go, girl.
Thank you.
So what do you think makes a good councillor from what you've seen and heard and observed and what you feel personally?
I think actually getting out there and listening to the people that have elected you is the main thing. And I think it's very easy to find that difficult because everybody's busy, and I think most councillors, or a lot of councillors, have full-time or part-time jobs and families, and it's hard to dedicate the time to doing that. But it's very important, I think, rather than going in there with your own ideas and thinking, this is the decision that I want to make personally, you need to remember that you were elected and you need to represent those views.
It's not your
own
agenda.
Yeah.
It's the population.
Yeah.
Yeah, population's agendas. You have a young family, don't you?
I do. I've got a little, almost 6-year-old.
Wow. Boy, girl?
Little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely little girl.
Of course.
I would
adorable.
say that, wouldn't I? But
well, I hope you would.
She's a school counsellor, actually. This week, just been chosen.
You've already influenced her to stand. That's fantastic.
I love it.
That is fantastic. Were you born and brought up in Weston, Holly?
No. I was born up in Walsall. I only moved to Weston. It must have been getting on for 18 months, 2 years ago now.
Wow.
So, yeah, relative
Good
newcomer to the area as well.
What made you move to Weston?
Here. My partner lives here, so it was a choice between nice little seaside town or Walsall, which is a bit more, built up, and there's not the outdoor facilities that I think are here, that it's so easy with a young family again to go out and enjoy the weekend without really spending any money if you don't want to.
Yeah. And we're spoilt here, aren't we?
Very spoilt, I think.
Do you think we all appreciate what we've got?
And I think it's difficult if you've lived somewhere your whole life. You've got a set of ideals based on that. And I think particularly hearing people worry about alcohol and drug problems in the town. I'm not disputing that there are problems. But in comparison to where I was brought up, I look and again think, this is nothing in comparison to what I've experienced.
Yes.
But again, I suppose as a councillor, you have to weigh that up with, just because that's my experience.
Exactly.
If people think that there's a problem, then you've got to take that on board and take it seriously.
Exactly, yes. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself growing up, Holly, so we can get an idea of,
I was brought up in Walsall by my lovely mum, who did a very good job, hopefully, as a single parent.
I'm sure she did.
I think I grew up, like I say, in a city type area, And again, I suppose that makes me appreciate here having the outdoors. I don't feel necessarily lots of people have that growing up. And
they don't.
Yeah,
No.
it's great.
Some children in cities don't see wild animals, do they? Don't see even cows in a field.
No.
They just see that all the time.
Yeah. One of the things I'm really thinking about recently is having fond memories of playing out on my street and with my friends and having that freedom and looking around thinking children don't necessarily have that either, and something needs to be done to encourage safe playing out in the streets for children.
Absolutely. What are you passionate about, Holly? What?
I think children and making sure that all children, regardless of their background or disability or family life, have the same opportunities as everybody else. I work at a children's centre in Central Western.
Yeah.
Obviously that forms part of my belief. But yeah, it's really, children and making sure we can do the best for them, really.
Great. Now, a bit of fun here. I have this question I love to ask councillors when they come in. 3 people that you'd like to invite to a dinner party you were having. They can be dead or alive.
Okay.
They'd obviously be alive at the dinner party.
Yes, okay, that's
So
good. That's promising.
Who would you like?
I think I would have, and this may be controversial and something
worry.
that I shouldn't say.
It's just me and you.
I know a lot of people would say Jesus from a religious point of view, and I've got to say that I'm atheist, so I think I would have Jesus to say, you've obviously done some great things in your life, but, you're really the Son of God. Can you tell us a bit more about the Bible?
Have a good old chat.
Yeah, an old heart-to-heart with Jesus.
Yeah,
I think I'd have him there. Who else would I have? I'd have Mr. Tumble, because he is a wonderful children's entertainer, and I would like to have a chat with him as well.
Okay.
Take some photos for, me and my daughter. Have us up there on the wall.
Mr. Tumble, right.
I'd like him. Should I think of someone a bit more intellectual for my third guest? I would have the author, Michael Faber, because I've just read all of his books and they're absolutely brilliant.
What sort of writer is he?
He's a novelist. So he writes short stories. Just read, what was his, Under the Skin was one of his shorter things, but it's a very bizarre story. And also Crimson Petal and the White. It was a drama that was on the BBC.
Missed the final episode, wasn't happy with that.
Dear, yeah. It's on DVD now, I believe. But the book is, even better. Yeah, the series was wonderful, waiting every week for it to come on.
Yeah, that's right.
This book is highly recommended.
So you'd have him?
I would have him.
Interesting dinner party guest. Holly, now, excuse me, did you grew up in Warsaw, where did you go to college? Did you go to uni?
No, I did the first year of my A-levels and just didn't enjoy it, basically, so didn't continue that. Obviously look back now as an adult and think, well, I could have had a free education and it would have been wonderful, and obviously as soon as you're an adult then you have to pay quite a lot of money for any education that you do. I've just done a level 3 children's workforce diploma at Western College. Unfortunately was funded in part by North Somerset Council, but it's thousands of pounds.
That's right.
So didn't continue as far as I'd have liked to. And maybe will go to university one day. Is the grand plan. But not yet.
No. So what sort of area of work did you go into then when you left?
When I left, I worked in insurance and office-based work for a few years. Got incredibly frustrated by my working day being making money for people, which is not really my ethos in life. And then when I moved to Western, obviously had to quit my job and so then was lucky enough to apply at the Children's Centre and, you know, got into more the area that I'd like to be.
And you obviously love being at the Children's Centre.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and it's a real mix of, I do administrating and creche working, so I get to help, you know, with the behind the scenes running of the centre, which is lovely, and also, you know, playing with the children and working with families.
Yes.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, rewarding.
Yes, very rewarding.
Yeah. Okay, now we're talking about young people, children. You obviously have a passion for them. What would you say to young people to encourage them into local politics? You know, maybe they're thinking, well, she's 26, but look at me, I could never get involved. You know, what would you say?
I would say get in touch with the local councillors and with the local council and come and experience what it's actually like. I would also say that maybe a bit of pressure needs to be put on councils to make it more appealing for children and for young people, because I found when I was approaching councillors and interested in becoming elected, it was actually only the Lib Dems that kind of took me under their wing and showed a real interest and explained things to me and allowed me to understand how I could be involved. Whereas I think looking at a lot of councillors, again, they're quite old, and, you know, it's difficult for children to think they're going to have a chat to me and let me know what it's all about. I also don't think it's very accessible. I think Bristol City Council, I believe it is, video their council meetings and put it on the internet so people can then go and have a look and see what it is really about.
There is a push here for things to be broadcasted, isn't there?
Yeah, because it's kind of behind closed doors, and obviously you can attend, but again, that is intimidating for somebody to go into a council meeting on their own and sit there with a bunch of strangers, whereas from the comfort of your own home, the more people can learn about it, then they can decide if they want to get more involved.
That's a good point, yeah.
So I think, we need to make it more accessible.
Yes. Okay, just one final question before we finish. Blue sky thinking, Holly, if there was anything without limit and without hindrance that you could pop into Weston, what would it be, your dream?
My dream bit
thing?
It would be Meadow Street and that area. I think when I moved to Weston, walking down there, I thought, oh, this is such a pretty little area. In parts, could be such a pretty little area. And I think, you know, it's forgotten, and I'm very worried will be even more forgotten with the new Dolphin Square development kind of pushing everybody that way. So really, I would love to see that pedestrianised, see a lot of money spent there, attracting, you know, kind of niche independent retailers down into that area. And, you know, I think of Bath and places with these old historic buildings that are so pretty, and you love exploring down these little kind of mazy streets, and that could be exactly that. So I think, that would be my dream. Spend some money there and, you know, give that area what it deserves.
Absolutely. Holly Young, it's been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And that's all from Coffee with the Councillor. Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to email us your questions. Thank you, and bye-bye. Thanks, Holly. That was great.